A shocking twist in global politics. Donald Trump has now raised the possibility of offering Ukraine NATO-style security guarantees. Not membership, not Article 5 in name, but in essence a place that the United States could step in if Ukraine is attacked. This move, if real, would shake the very foundation of the war in Europe and send tremors through Moscow, NATO and Kyiv alike. For years, Ukraine has sought NATO membership, a shield against Russian aggression. But NATO allies have hesitated, fearing that bringing Ukraine under the Article 5 umbrella would trigger direct confrontation with Moscow. Now, Trump has stepped forward with a new proposal. Guarantees that would mirror NATO's commitment. An attack on Ukraine would mean an attack on the US itself. If true, this could redraw the map of deterrence in Europe. Imagine what this means on the battlefield. Ukraine, fighting tooth and nail for its survival, would suddenly have promise of US protection. Russia would know that every missile, every strike could risk a direct clash with America. It's not NATO membership, but it could be just as powerful. And it raises the ultimate question. Is Trump willing to push the United States closer to war with Russia in order to guarantee Ukraine's survival? For President Zelensky, such guarantees would be a dream come true, a lifeline that could finally secure Ukraine's place in the West. For Vladimir Putin, this is nothing short of a nightmare scenario. Such a place would mean his war is no longer just against Ukraine, but potentially against the United States. This is more than just policy, it's a signal to the world that the US might be ready to take responsibilities for Ukraine's defense without the long drawn-out process of NATO admission. It would be a warning shot to Russia and a message to China, Iran and other adversaries. America is still willing to draw red lines. But with such a guarantee comes risk. One miscalculation, one border clash, one missile could set off a chain reaction that pulls Washington into open war. But the ripple effects don't stop in Europe. China is watching. If the US is willing to offer such ironclad protection to Ukraine, what does that say about Taiwan? Could America extend similar guarantees in Asia? Furthermore, Iran and North Korea are watching too. US credibility is on the line. If Trump makes this promise and follows through, it could restore deterrence worldwide. If he fails, it could embolden America's rivals everywhere. This isn't just about Ukraine. This is about whether the United States is willing to play the role of global protector. But here's the dark side. Guarantees are only as strong as the will to enforce them.
That the president supports a Putin proposal which would essentially give over Donbass, that entire region or most of it, to the Russian, attacked a sovereign country.
We were in the room, Shannon, as a mediator. It is for the Ukrainians to decide how they might land swap, how they might make a deal with the Russians on to make those decisions themselves.
But are reports accurate or inaccurate that the president does support that ask from Putin?
I think the president supports a peace deal, Shannon, and he got through almost all of it on in Alaska. I mean, I was personally surprised at the amount of wins that we had that day. It was right down the line. We agreed on much more robust security guarantees. The Russians agreed on enshrining legislatively language that would prevent them from, or they would attest to not attempting to take any more land from Ukraine after a peace deal, where they would attest to not violating any European borders. So we got through quite a bit, and there's a whole lot more.
If the US promises to defend Ukraine but hesitates when Russia tests that resolve, the consequences could be catastrophic. Putin may gamble that Trump is bluffing. He may decide to push harder, daring Washington to act. And if Washington does act, we could be facing something the world has avoided for decades, a direct clash between two nuclear powers. This is brinkmanship at the highest level, A dangerous game where the margin for error is razor thin and the consequences of failure could be catastrophic. So, here we are. Trump's offer of NATO-style guarantees to Ukraine is not just another political soundbite. It is a seismic shift in global security. The question is simple. Will this gamble save Ukraine, or will it ignite the very conflict the world fears most? What are your opinions? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.